All right, and we are live. Welcome everybody, and welcome Lady Alchemy herself, Martina Markota. How are you going?
Good. Well, how are you? Thanks for having me.
Oh, great. Thank you for coming, Blue. Good to see you here too.
Good to see you too. Sorry I lost my avatar. I'll try to find him.
Find something appropriate.
Yes. I took a shower for this.
There's a lady coming onto the stream. Do your hair.
I don't want to be all smelly. You know?
We've got some people in the chat. Amy Elias, I could never pronounce this. Amy Leos Comics says hello, and he's going to catch the replay. He's in Greece. Apparently, it's a weird time over there. Mo Biggs is in the chat. He's hailing. He says we're good to see you bright and early for a change, but then I started late. I don't know, Martina. Even if I start half a second too late, Mo's going to be here to call me out on it. But he's good people because he's in there dropping links in the chat for us.
Nice, great.
Todd's here. How you going, buddy? Who else is here? Felix, great to see you here. There you go. Some more link droppers. Blue's also leaving comments in the chat. Hex Allen is here. He says, "Hail you saucy wrenches." I thought you said saucy wenches. I thought you were trying to insult our guest here, but no, I'm just dyslexic.
No, he's
Rick Saylor's here. He says, "Hail." Lots of faces here today. Rampadora Girl. Crackhead's here. Oh, wrong one. Where'd you go, Crackhead? I missed you. Anyway. Oh, Poland's in the chat. Oh, Poland's here. How you going, Poland?
Right.
Hi.
Hello. You've got a nice avatar there yourself.
Doesn't measure up to Martina, but you know, we try.
We do our best. We do our best.
My queen.
Yeah. So, Lady Alchemy. Wow, this is really cool to have you on here. Let me just bring up your campaign page. Where is it here? I don't know if you know this, but we pride ourselves on being the least professional streaming show in all of CG. So you're just going to have to put up with us on that front.
Oh, I'm the same way. It's fine.
I think
I've even put your currency settings to Australian. There we go. All right. There we are. That's your thing. Lady Alchemy, Mutus Liber. Is that how you pronounce that?
Yeah, Mutus Liber. It's Latin for the mute book or silent book. It's an actual. It's an actual alchemical text from 1677.
Sorry, go on.
No, that I have seen and touched in real life. So.
That's what I was about to say. I was looking in, I think it's either down on the page or in the update, says photos of you actually holding the thing. So that must have been pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really exciting. I went to this rare books fair and did not expect to see that. And I saw it in a glass cage, was like, oh, and they're like, yeah, you want to take it out? I'm probably the only one that was like, Oh my god.
It's like no one's ever asked to look at that before.
Yeah, and they're like, "Want to take it out?" They're like, "Oh, you can flip through." I was like, "I don't want to touch it. I'll rip it." Like things can exist for like centuries, and then once it gets into my hands, forget about it. I'll spill coffee on it.
Something that we like to do on this show is to spend a bit of time at the start of the hour and just kind of get to know the guest a little bit. And of all our guests, you've probably got the most interesting story for us, or the one that I expect is going to be a little bit different to most other guys who come here on the show.
Well, she's not a guy.
She's not a guy for one. We have had a lady on before.
Don't assume my gender.
I know. Yes, sorry about that. Don't strike me down, YouTube. But why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got into making a comic and this whole background of this character you got here?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you might see similarities with me.
There you go.
Because,
Just a touch.
yeah, a little bit. And I was a performer in New York City. Did burlesque, various like performance art, and I worked at a really, really like top nightclub. It's basically like Studio 54, like what that was in that era, but today, and it was called something else. And it was just a wild nightclub / theater. It was late night, like, you know, we had celebrities come in. It was like wild stuff going on, wild performances, drugs, like the whole thing. And it was just like this crazy nightlife spot. And I performed, it gets like super complicated. There's so many layers. But I performed this piece, this Fallen Angel piece, because I have this really rare blood type. And when I started looking into it, there's all these like theories, conspiracy theories of like, this Rh negative blood type and the connection with like the Nephilim and the fallen angels and like all that stuff. So I created this performance about that to represent that. And when I was performing, I always like considered myself like a superhero, and it was like, yeah, I run around in the middle of the night in costumes and I'm athletic, and I, you know, it's just such a superhero thing. But the real me is like a nerd, you know, daytime me. So I had that like Clark Kent superhero persona. And I always wanted it to be like a comic book, but, you know, I talked to someone that does comics, makes comics, and he said, oh, it costs like 10 grand. And I was like, I don't have 10 grand for that shit. You know, this is like saying the ink, the inker, you know, letter, colorist. I was like, okay, forget about it. Can't do it. But when Comicsgate came around, obviously I align politically, and a lot of the things that happened with those comics, the pros happened with me with burlesque. I got blacklisted because of my politics. They didn't agree with me, and it was very, very vile, kind of like the whole whisper thing that's going on that you guys
But
have.
wait, we're told that cancel culture isn't real. It's consequence culture. Haven't you heard?
Oh, is that what's happening
Yeah,
now?
you're just facing the consequences
Right.
of disagreeing with them.
Well, that makes sense, because I saw a post back in 2016 about me where it was like, oh, we hear there's a Trump supporter in the burlesque community, and it's just like, it was like this meme. It was like a comic meme strip thing that was like basically saying, oh, like freedom of speech thing. It's like, oh, but there's no freedom of, you know, there's freedom of something about consequences to your freedom of speech. Mm-hmm. So that was their whole rationale.
That's the thing. That's you have a you're free to speak, but you're not free from consequences.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. So that happened to me. And so, I mean, it just like perfectly aligned. It was like something I've always been into in the 90s. I loved, like, as a kid, I was like, Witchblade, she looks like me, you know? I was like, awesome.
Yes, Witchblade.
Yeah. There's been some Witchblade / Tomb Raider covers and stuff like that, little crossovers. Fathom, like, I just loved like the sexy chicks. So I was equally upset when I see them like unfeminized nowadays. I'm like, no, do that.
May or may not own most of those books.
The what?
I say I may or may not own most of those books.
Oh, nice.
All three of those. Fathom, Tomb Raider, and Witchblade.
Did anyone see that picture of, I don't know if it's fan art or real Marvel art, the one with Wolverine and Cyclops kissing?
Yeah, I saw.
I did.
Yep. Is that real? Or is that fan art?
I think it's fan art that a pro did, but with the way that Hickman's run's going, it's probably going to be real.
Well, more than anything, though, it was the way they drew Jean Grey. With her breasts look like a man's pecs. You know, they're very flat, and there's just a tiny little, like, yeah.
But that's what I mean. It's like for these feminists, like, why do you unfeminize like women? Like, why take away the womanliness? You know?
Because feminism is not the same as femininity.
Right. Yeah.
As you found out in the burlesque community.
Yeah, certainly. Anyway,
so you were there. Yep.
Yeah, no, it just like kind of crossed over and kind of made sense. And I just got into like Comicsgate and all that. I mean, I've had many a troubles along the way, but I think I'm in a good place with the book now. So it's exciting, and I'm glad to be here to talk about it.
So, all right. So you're the sorry, Blue, go on.
I was saying, she's in a good place with the book now. Who's drawing it now? I lost track.
Yeah, no. So Dario from Pende Studios is drawing it. He's done stuff with like Dark Horse and all that. So he's pretty legit and pretty good. Stays out of drama. He's just does his thing, gets paid. That's it.
Nice.
Okay,
and
so
he does your thing and gets paid.
Yeah. We're gonna get into that. All right. So because there may be people here who don't know the history. I mean, I know the history a little bit. I wasn't a backer of this book back in the day. I think it finished in 2018, at the end of 2018.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get into that. The thing about late books is, as long as people are being updated and there's a story, there's an actual thing that's happened, and people are usually pretty forgiving most of the time. And you've got a story. So why don't you tell us a little bit about? So you're the writer of this, correct? It's about your.
Vaughn technically wrote the script. Yeah, I mean, I created the story, but I'm not a writer. So
okay.
I mean. When I originally got rid of my team and I wanted to do this over again, I was like, I'll write it myself. And then I sat there, I was like, okay, I got the story, but like, what? I don't like writing a script. Like I was fooling myself. It's kind of like thinking I could do all sorts of stuff, draw it. And I've never drawn a comic book before, It's like, a professional writer has to like do a proper script in a script format, like have the whole arcs, have everything make sense. So Vaughn wrote it, but I created it, and
and it's sort of rough. It's based on what you were just talking about earlier, how you had that idea of the performer and superhero.
Yeah, exactly. So I always considered, like I said, my performing persona as like a superhero character. Plus, I had this idea for like my bloodline to kind of go in there somehow. I have to figure out like I'm a Nephilim, my blood is special. I just thought it was a good storyline to go into, like her discovering her blood and then like coming into this whole new world of like, craziness and esoteric shit and alchemy, this whole world she didn't know that existed. We all think that it's like this mundane existence that we have. And then she taps into this thing through her bloodline and figures out the world is much more mysterious than she realized. So it's based off of that. And to get into the drama, I guess, we decided to do this campaign. And I had a friend that was an illustrator in LA, and he was like, I'll do the art. And I have a buddy that can like do the script, because again, I'm not a writer and it requires a proper script. And so I was like, cool. And then we were working on it, and I paid him. He asked for $3,000 up front in the beginning when I raised money. And I was like, whoa. Like, $3,000 up front. That's like a lot. Like,
this is before you launched the campaign?
This was after we launched and I started making some money. He was like, okay, like, give me like $3,000. Like, like it's nothing. And I was like, well, hold on. I have to budget things and sort things out. And I didn't know how to do a comic book. So I just trusted my friend when he said, no, just give me the money and, we'll make it happen. Then we're good. And I was like, okay. And so I gave him $3,000, like right in the beginning. And then a month later, he says, give me another $1,000. And that was like $4,000.
Uh-oh.
And it was just a lot of spending in the beginning. And it was like, oh, my buddies can do posters, right? So my buddy, like, it's going to be $2,000 for posters. I was like, $2,000? I was like, we don't need $2,000 worth of posters. We just need a few hundred like, the book is the main priority. Next thing I know, I'm being invoiced for like $2,000. And I just kind of like was busy doing other shit. And I was like, whatever, Mom. Was like, and I paid it. And then it's like, oh, pay for this. Oh, my buddy can do the stickers. That'll be $600. So you should get these like t-shirts. It'll be $2,000, you know? And so I ended up spending like $11,000 on him and his art in the beginning. It was a lot of spending in the beginning that he was advising me to do. And I didn't know what I'm doing. And then, you know, the time comes where we're supposed to ship the book out and he's still telling me to spend money or, oh, I'm broke. Can you send me some more money? And I'm just kind of got irritated at that point because that's when I'm getting like, I don't like to be late. I don't like, I'm very meticulous about things. And I just expected, I gave him money. He's the professional. He knows what he's doing. Right. And then when it came down to sending out the books and people were complaining that it's late, I was like, buddy, where's the art? Where's the art? Like, we need the comic book. Then he got like weird on me and started like disappearing and being a little grumpy. And every time I asked about art, he got like super grumpy. And then it was like, oh, well, I have this gig to do because like I need money. And he started to make me feel like he was doing this for free. And I was like, buddy, you didn't do this for free. You know, like I paid you thousands of dollars. So I don't need the excuses. Just deliver what you're supposed to do. And when he did deliver, it was 14 pages. And it was supposed to be a 60-page book. And I was like, at this rate, it's going to be another 3 years. Like, this is crazy, 14 pages. And I was like, okay, let's look at the pages. Get on a call all together with the guy you have that's doing the script. I never saw script in my life. I saw a long paragraph, a treatment that he sent me, and I wasn't happy with it. And I kept trying to tell him, I need the bloodline thing. Like, I need this. Like, I need that in it. And I didn't have any of it. They did whatever they wanted to do. The artist self-inserted himself. He called himself Major Grubert. And it was like the whole thing was Major Grubert. Page 1 to page 14 to page 13.
Sorry to laugh. It's not Lady Alchemy. It's Major Grubert.
It was all Major Grubert. And it was like this whole thing. And I remember talking to my husband being like, I don't get it. I don't know what this story is like. I'm embarrassed to put this out. Like, I'm not happy. And I was thinking, maybe book 2, I'll do whatever I want to do. But when I got on the Skype call to kind of sort through, like, okay, well, you gave me 14 pages. That's not what we agreed to, like, at this time. Let's sort through. Let's all get together, figure out page by page. I don't get the story. Let's, like, figure it out. I want to be, like, excited about the story. Like, convince me that the story is good. And they kind of just ganged up on me and started telling me that, like, I don't know, like, what the creative process is about. Like, let Maz do his thing. You keep raising money, you know, like all this stuff I was being talked down to. And I was like, I don't think I want to do this. Like, this is not, I'm not okay with this. I think I have to let them go. And I found out also Googling Major Grubert, because I was so unhappy about Major Grubert being the main character on every page that I was like, Googled it. It's already a comic book character. It's from Mobius, the like some garage thing and the airtight garage or whatever.
Okay.
So he like stole that name. It's a copyright character. And I was like, these are like oversights that would screw me over. It would screw Comicsgate. Can you imagine how embarrassing that would be for Comicsgate if I published something that's like copywritten like character? Like, that would be so bad. So I gave this whole long like email about like why I don't want to work with them anymore and, you know, wish them well, but you can't use Lady Alchemy. That's me. Do whatever you want. Then they started like copyright striking the Indiegogo. They started like copyright striking my website. They started sending me cease and desist. And I was like, this is not your project. And like, what do you want me to do? Like, I have backers. I can't refund everybody because I spent 11 grand on you. I spent more money on other shit for the comic. Like, you know, like you put me in a situation where I can't refund and you want me to stop, but that's not your project to tell me like, this is my story. And so, I got my Indiegogo back and I got my websites back. And then they started going on podcasts and slandering me and saying how like, I don't know. They started being like, she's an evil person because I fired them. They got money. Could you imagine getting paid 11 grand and then like not producing and then just being told it's okay, you don't have to pay it back. Just go
I
away.
can't, but
Yeah.
Ascension Cinema is there in the chat. Who are these people and where are they now?
Yeah, right now
They're out there.
trying to harass me and they're trying every sort of thing to ruin this project, ruin the campaign, get a wedge, make me fail. And it just is unfortunate because, I lost my career and, it was really devastating to lose Lady Alchemy as a performer. And then I found Lady Alchemy new life through the comic book and they want to destroy that. So it's an uphill battle right now. But I did put together a new team with Dario and Don, and the colorist Miko is amazing. I really like him. And I think this story is great. It's better than this Major Grubert story. And I'm excited for the direction of this, but I am still dealing with, them trying to sabotage it. So beware.
This is nuts.
I'm just astounded at the we're gonna take your character, make it a side character in our story about a copyrighted character, and then strike you.
Yes.
Not to mention siphoning all your campaign funds off.
Yes.
That's some great hemorrhaging tactics there.
Yeah, and anyone, I've got a campaign as well, and
You may have heard of it.
It's not like you just get all this cash and then you can just run off into the sunset. There's so much that goes into it, things that you can't really even foresee, and especially if you're paying. Usually it's a writer paying artists and colorists, but you're the kind of the story creator, so you're paying a writer, artist, colorist, everything.
Letterer.
Exactly. I've heard the bits and pieces of this story, but I haven't heard it all in one like that laid out. And it's just, what were you saying, Colin? I was just sitting there in shock.
I thought you were going to file your seat, Michael. I was worried.
I was going to do a
to catch you.
Yeah, there's more details. It gets really crazy. I feel like I might do a video on it one day, but I mean, I could keep talking straight for like 2 hours on your stream if we get into all the details. But so that's the short version of it. But yeah, they're actively trying to just make sure the project's ruined. So I'm sorry about the lateness, but that's what I've been dealing with. People purposefully spending my money, trying to do their own thing on my name, on my dime, trying to sabotage the project after I let go of them. So I'm pushing through, and I hope people can appreciate that. I'm pushing through despite how long it's taking. Sorry.
I, for one, am forgiving because when all this came out, you were ready to update all of us. But so yes, you're forgiven. Now, how did you get from there to Vaughn? Like, how did you snag Vaughn?
Adam Post came in when I, in DM groups, made the announcement like, I'm kind of freaking. I have to get rid of my team and start again. And he started advising me on things, and he hooked me up with Vaughn. And Vaughn was a backer, so he liked the concept of Lady Alchemy and wanted to make sure that it succeeds. So he really stepped up, and then he read my notes and said, like, hell yeah, this is cool. Like, I'm down. Like, we're doing this. So
cool.
All right. Well, that's a fantastic segue. We can go right into the book and talk a little bit about what this is about. So this art right here, I'm presuming is it Dario?
Yeah, Dario. Pande Studio is his company.
Yeah. I haven't seen any of the art from the original campaign that I can remember, but this is fantastic stuff.
It's much better. Yeah, it's good. It's not all colored or finished yet, but like I'm 50% inked. These are some of my pages. 50% inked and a few pages of coloring so far.
Yeah, this is great.
Thanks. So,
and the colorist again, who was that? Sorry.
His name's Miko. I should add him to this whole campaign because this was like the last thing that I kind of got. Oh, I'm in New York City. You're gonna have to excuse me.
Just some rioters out the window.
But yeah, he was like the last person on the team that joined, so I have to update that with his info. But I'm not really sure what his deal is, but he does a lot of magazines and art illustration stuff, super artsy. So that's why I really wanted him.
Yeah, it does look. It doesn't look kind of very traditional comic book style. It does have a different element to it, especially on a piece like this. It looks like illustration.
Thank you. Yeah, so that's exactly why I liked him. Lady Alchemy, me as a performer, if you're familiar with my work, it's strange but beautiful. I like avant-garde. I like the super artsy. So like I like sexy, but I don't want it the generic sexy. And so I really needed the colorist Miko to come in and like, that was my note, was like, be weird, think outside the box. And he's perfect. He's great.
Well, I saw a video you put up recently being within the past 2 months of, well, forgive me for not having the proper name, but it's the first step in transformation in the alchemical process, and it had something to do with noir.
Yeah, it's Negretto, and that's the first phase of the alchemical process. So that's like a blackening. It's where you come face to face with your demons, and it's a burning, a purging. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that was a performance art piece I did in 2014 that represents that. And I actually have a little bit of that in my comic book clip because since I'm only 50% done with the inking, I was just playing with the video because I had this video concept in my head. Oh God, these trucks going by now. Okay. I had this video concept in my head as I was. Oh my God, just give it a second.
Adds to the charm. It's all right.
And I had this like idea in my head for the video. It was like 3 a.m, and I was like laying in bed. You know when that happens. And I was like sitting there, and I was just like, I have to get up. So I got up at like 3 a.m. out of bed, and I was like, just started like piecing the bits of like what I had in my head to the video. But I don't have all the completed work because some of it's in black and white, and then some of the second half of the video has like the real Lady Alchemy stuff, which is why there's the Negretto piece in there and everything, because I don't have that art yet, but they all represent things that are going to happen in the story, in the comic. So the black paint bit in the comic video represents a demon, which is on the campaign page as well. So she gets invited to perform for these elites and to be part of the, like the Illuminati shit. You know how they have a special bloodline, just like me. And, she's this performer.
What is this blood that you're talking about?
Okay, so everybody has A, B, or O blood, right? But there's a plus or minus factor. So that plus or minus factor is called the RH factor, the rhesus monkey factor. And 85% of the world population has plus. So they have this genetic link. They have this protein in their blood. And I'm part of the small population that doesn't have that protein in their blood. And what that means is that when I have kids, and if I have a guy with plus and my baby's a plus inside me, my body will physically attack the fetus and kill it because it's like, this isn't your kind. It's like an alien. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like,
I never heard of that.
Yeah, no. Well, nowadays, since the 70s, they have it's called a Rogam shot. So they give you a shot and like it's fine. You don't have these like complications with pregnancy. And my mom had 6 healthy kids, and we weren't all the same like plus or minus factor. But without that shot, to me, I was like, well, why would that happen? As far as Darwin goes, doesn't that make me less desirable? Which is totally defies everything else that makes me desirable. So I started looking into it, and there are the same complications that occur with pregnancy happen in nature when animals crossbreed. So I was like, what the fuck? Are we different kinds of human beings coexisting and crossbreeding, and no one's talking about it? It's just like, yeah, whatever, don't think about it. Just take a shot. What? And I started looking into it more, and I found like in the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Book of Enoch, the Old Testament, they talk about it. Sumerian cultures throughout the world.
Speaking our language now, Poland.
Exactly.
We're obsessed with all this stuff.
Yes.
I've got Sumerian stuff in my book as well. I love this whole historical element to it and everything. We've had very long conversations about this, and he even told me a story idea that he had, and I said, "Oh yeah, that's pretty much the entire background of my story."
Yeah, it was very similar.
Yeah, so I had to like interlude that, which is why my former team didn't do it. They wanted to do their story, and I was like, "This isn't my story. This is what I had planned 10 years ago when I thought about making a comic." So it was really important to me to have that in there. And yeah, so like the Dead Sea Scrolls, like Book of Enoch, they talk about like these angels that came down, procreated with the human race, and created the Nephilim like hybrid. And they brought knowledge of alchemy. I was like, me, makeup, me, metallurgy, like magic.
Meant to be.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm an Nephilim. Like that was like my weird, artist brain being like, I am a fallen angel, descendant of a fallen angel. So that's kind of how I did my performances, and that's what I wanted in the comic book, and make it like super amplified that way. So that's kind of what the story's about. She finds out something. But that's why in that video too, they're kind of stealing her blood.
William C wants to know if you've performed at any Illuminati parties that you're aware of.
That's a good question. I mean, maybe. I don't know. I performed at a Google holiday party. Maybe the Google people.
Yeah. Sounds like it. You know what I was just saying to my wife the other day? The original tagline, motto for Twitter was "We're the free speech wing of the free speech party," and then the initial motto for Google was "Don't be evil." How far they stray once the big money gets involved, huh?
Yeah, that's interesting.
This book, this really caught my eye, and you spoke a bit about it briefly, but it talks a little bit about the history of it. It's how old is that now? It's 300 and something years old.
Yeah, it's a few hundred, I guess, right? 2020 minus 1677. Someone do the math.
I'm no good at arithmetic. Blue, what's that?
I didn't catch the second number. 2020 minus
2020 minus 1677.
Oh, that'd be 400, or no, would it be? 30, no,
See, I was a math major, but people always ask me to do things like that. I'm like, I'm not a calculator.
Yeah,
dude.
Yeah. I was good at maths in high school too, but I can't do my times tables.
Yeah.
Sorry, what was that, Blue?
I still use my hands.
It's 343, I think.
Nice. Okay. Yeah.
And it's just pictures.
Yeah, it's the Mutus Liber. It's Latin for mute book. So it's basically a picture book, but I'm kind of adapting it maybe a little bit, because you see that cover picture has a little bit of text. And it has some angel wings there. So I think maybe like in the script, there is a little bit of like, and then the, sons of man, whatever's in the Bible, the sons of man and the daughters of earth or whatever. So kind of want to explain a little bit of that. I think it'd be cool to incorporate the Mutus. It's copyright free, 'cause it's 1677. And I feel like it'd be cool to incorporate that a little bit.
Disney doesn't have their claws on it yet, or their mouse paws on it yet. So there's some shots of your performance there.
Yeah, I just wanted to show that it's like
a
real person.
It's not a Major Gruber, or was it? Is that it?
Yeah, Major Gruber.
Martina, in you looking backwards into a lot of this stuff, well, there are two things. One is, what do they call it? Like the old symbolism that went on early American stuff. The eagle always represented. Is that pageantry? Is that?
What does the eagle represent in the old?
No. What do they call that art form? Is it pageantry, or I can't remember the name for it, but there were standard symbols for that kind of, we'll just call it pageantry, so that if you did something and you decorated the edges with various things, it deliberately meant something. It wasn't a code, it was just known for validity.
Symbols do that, archetypes do that. Yeah, things like
but
that.
This was fairly standardized even before the founding of the United States. And then have you read up on Michael Heiser?
No, I'll write that down though. What's he about?
He went nuts in about 2014, I think. So don't bother with anything from him in 2014. Okay. But he was very big into I think he's, oh geez, I think he's Arminian, and that's a theology. That's not a nation. But yeah, he was very big into decoding the B'nai Elohim. That's the sons of God, etc. Now, he did a really good, thorough explanation of the second incursion theory for Numbers, the book of Numbers, as opposed to the surviving the flood theory. It gets into some depth there. He did accidentally, and I do credit him enough to say accidentally, make a straw man argument that I didn't hear refuted for years, having to do with confirming the Nephilim and angels mating. Also, people who disagree with him, who I'm close to, I don't agree with all of their arguments, but still. Anyway, so he's a good guy to look at for a lot of that stuff until 2014 when he went nuts. So also Book of Enoch, I've heard Paradox Brown and I forget the other guy's name, but they dissected that thing in about 2 hours, and God, it was hard to stay awake. To where the only parts that really matter, like the first 5 chapters, the rest of it is just everybody admits this is sci-fi and nobody relies on this at all.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's
but it's cool.
Yeah,
It is very cool.
Exactly. I mean, it was.
They had the best sci-fi back then.
I know. And that's the thing is like these stories kind of like, they're archetypes. It's deeper. It's more than like, I just made up a story. It can resonate and people can kind of go, oh my God, I know about that. And it can make sense, like the Illuminati, the elites, the bloodline, like the Nephilim stuff. I've had someone else too in Confiscate that was like, did you say Nephilim? Like, I have a character that's Nephilim. I'm like, we're brothers, sisters.
Well, you're making sense to me.
Bandito, how you going?
Yeah, hail and well met.
Hail.
Lady
Where you
Alchemy.
been?
So I was at work. Some of us have to, we don't all we can't all do the easy thing and make comics,
Did you bring home?
Yeah, we were just hearing how easy they are to make.
Yeah. Lady Alchemy, it's so great to meet you.
Yes, thank you for having me. Thanks for suggesting me.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're also sharing an artist. So, I mean, we got all kinds of connections.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Wait. You did mention this. Which artist are we sharing?
Dario.
Oh,
Dario Carrasco Jr. Yeah. We've been friends. He and I have been friends for years.
Right. You mentioned that. Okay, cool. Yeah, because I think he was just working on mine for a while. I don't know if you started doing your thing yet.
Well, we started working on 2016.
Oh.
And we stepped back from the project just because of some chaos and I was in an accident.
I'm sorry. Damn.
All kinds of good stuff. But
yeah, Dario's great. He's such a sweet guy, and he gets really invested into what he's doing. And with that page 100%. That you're showing in particular, that's depicting like an actual performance that I did, my Fallen Angel, my Nephilim performance. And I sent him a bunch of visual representation, like pictures of me and like all that stuff, like performing. And he definitely asked for more material, sent him videos, all this stuff. And I
bet he asked for more material.
He studied it well because he did
this looks amazing. Artie Bear is there in the chat, smoking hot. Absolutely. I'm talking about Artie Bear, of course, but the page is really good too. This is great stuff. So this is actually a page from the comic because this looks like a poster. You should make a poster. I don't want to actually say don't make any more posters.
No.
Well, yeah, no. I mean, the thing is, I have an issue with the former artist and thousands of dollars of posters that I paid for, and I think the 11 grand is just going to waste all the merch, everything. And if that's the case, fuck it. I want that as a poster, and I want to send everybody that did order and has received their posters. I'm gonna go into debt, and I don't even care.
You know what you need to do? You know what you need to do with all that?
What?
Black light.
You need to, well, with this definitely. But what you need to do is a live stream, super
burn
chat,
that bitch,
and burn everything. And for everything that someone super chats you, it's just another thing to go in the pile. Just purge that shit from your life.
Yeah, that's what I need to do. And you know what? I don't care if it takes me, leaving my apartment and then like living rent free with a relative, taking all that rent money that I would have paid to rent, paying for posters over again, getting everybody that received a poster or ordered something sending them all the new material, all the new art. I mean, that's what I owe. I know I've been incredibly late, so much drama, and I feel like I got to give everybody what they paid all this money for, and I'll get them posters.
Well, Dario will come through for you for certain. I mean, the guy is super passionate about this work, and he is putting out his best work ever. I mean, this is a guy that did all of the Tales of the Jedi back in the 90s. He was doing, and he does like all of that stuff in his sleep now. But his best work is coming out these days. He just gets better and better.
That's
every
exciting.
day. Yeah. So, and and then you got another reason for people to be excited about this project. I mean, you got Xevious working on the colors.
Well, no, I have Miko. I have to tell Xevious, but this is Miko. But I want to work with people that are really excited about it. Like Xevious has been really excited about it. I also have another girl that everyone was tagging when I was looking for coloring. I don't know, Rosetta or something is her name. She was doing like hand painted stuff.
We just had her on the show last week.
Oh, nice.
She does amazing work just with pencil crayons or painting or whatever medium she wants to work in. But,
and so it's like I have all these people that are really pumped about it, and they're doing all this work, and then, you know, it's hard for me to be like, no, I'm hiring this person, sorry. And so it's like with Rosetta doing all this like old, you know, by hand like artwork. I said, you know what, Dario, I don't have any original art from Dario, so how about we take your original art and we'll put that up and we'll split that money. And I want to make use of everybody, and I want to make use of Xevious as well. The thing is, I have another side project that involves this that I feel like all these people, Xevious, and there's a few other artists too. There was another artist that I didn't pick, but he does a lot of like Top Cow looking. He did like a Top Cow looking kind of Lady Alchemy, and I loved it. But ultimately I picked Dario. But I was like, man, I gotta do something with him. All my like Discord was like, you gotta do something with him. And then I had this idea about doing like mini books, and the mini books would be the performances, because the performances are only 2 pages, you know, it's a spread. I want to do like a little mini like 6-page book where I can do like the actual performance, and it's have different artists.
Very cool.
Yeah,
that would sell amazingly well. I mean,
it'll be like little collectibles, you know, because it's
absolutely.
Like, book 1 has 2 performances. There's this Fallen Angel performance, and then there's the wrapping back around to my point about the Negretto performance being in that video. Is that later on in the book she gets, you know, gets told by this lady, you know, hey, I want to make you a star and do this performance for these elites and stuff like that, some Illuminati ball type shit, Rothschild ball type shit. And it's basically like a ritual on stage where a demon is summoned, Niberius, and it's going to be another really epic stage performance kind of page. And so I like book 1 will have 2 mini books, because there's going to be the Fallen Angel performance, which is the art that you see here, and then the
smoking hot art that we see here.
And then there's going to be the demon, the summoning a demon performance.
Well, that's really good. I'm glad he's getting all that practice for drawing demons and stuff, because he'll be put to task when he's on my project as well. So
hey, Bandito,
I'm thinking of hiring him too. This is amazing stuff.
Yeah.
I guess I have to get in line.
Would Martina and Lady Alchemy fit somewhere in I don't mean to be rude by saying this in public, just to give you the idea, but it's would she have a place on that? I don't do well just listening to people play D&D, but would Character Crux, would she fit on that pirate ship you're on?
We're going to talk probably after this. I've had so many people that want to be guests on that show that I'm just like trying to. But we got campaigns aplenty coming down the pipeline.
Nice. So. Ain't nothing like pressure, huh?
It's exactly what we want. So
Paul Gibb is asking what happened in the first campaign. The stream is going to end in about 15 minutes. All you have to do is go back and listen to the first half hour. Martina goes into it in great detail. Yes, new artist, new team, original story.
original
I
story.
fucking love this art. Oh my gosh, Lady
Yeah,
Alchemy
thank you,
is.
guys.
it
Thank you.
Yeah,
is-
it's the colors, the art, it all just. This has been a conversation that's been going around CG lately, hasn't it? You know, does the art
Really?
and the color fit the book? This right here is just, I mean, it's exactly what you expect when you hear the story and the name and everything like that. So
Yeah.
Yeah, Martina, I don't know if you saw it, but Vestige 2 had to do a change mid campaign, much like you did with the colorist, because it wasn't going the way they wanted it. It didn't fit the tone of the book.
Yeah.
It was covering up a lot of Doodle's inks, so they made a change, and I think it fits the tone of their book.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I wish that was my issue, that I just had to pay him $700 something bucks and he would go away. These motherfuckers like 11 grand and they're still coming after me. So
You just need to get row on them. You know?
Yeah.
sort
You
of
know,
out.
One of the things you lucked out on is you had a solution come, where you talked to people, you got a solution organized. So when we backers finally heard about it, there was something on the way, unlike another failed campaign where everything was gone and they didn't have a solution.
Yeah, and I think that happened around the same time my drama. So I got caught in the mix, which is why I understand if Ethan's keeping his distance, or people kind of are like waiting to see like what's going on. But I think now that I'm like in the middle of the new thing, they're like, okay, things are happening with her, and like wait till I come out with my video on what like all the details. You guys will be like, what the fuck, you got screwed. I'll be like, yeah, I know. But even though I got screwed, I'm ultimately fixing it, and everyone will get a book. I just want to please everyone. This is the only thing I have left in my life to do, is this comic.
Way long ago, you said this comic idea has been with you for quite a long time, and I realized, well, you're a dancer. It's burlesque, and a comic makes sense because burlesque is visual. You need something visual for her. And I'm wondering, like, okay, well, film is just really, really expensive, so that's out. What made you say, I like comics, I want to do a comic? Like, did you read them growing up, or what?
Well, I didn't really read. I liked the pictures. So back in the 90s with the dial-up internet and the big-ass computer, I would just go Google, like before Google, what was it, Yahoo or something? I used to just look up, like I said, all the Witchblade and the Fathom, Dark Child. I don't know if you remember that one, Gen 13. And so I just loved all the like sexy babes, and I would just save all the pictures. But I didn't like read through them. When I did read some things like Gen 13, I like Rainmaker, and I noticed she was like hella lesbian, like she's like lesbo, and like one guy was like always hitting on her and she's like brushing him off. And I remember being like a teenager, like, ooh, lesbianism. Okay, whatever. She's pretty, But that also goes to the SJW stuff where it's like, yeah, we had these diverse characters already. They're already like their original character. She was a lesbian, but it wasn't her whole identity. It was just kind of part of the mix in the story.
Like
and
a real person.
Yeah, and she was a babe, and it was like she was hot, But nowadays they kind of lean on that as like a crutch and make it seem like this is so innovative. Look, this never been done before. It's like, yes, it was.
There's nothing beyond that with the characters now.
And well, you can always go back at them. Not that it matters because they're not arguing from any honest point of view, but they say, like, why does it have to be changed whenever you say, comics used to be like this? Then they come back at you and say, oh no, comics were always radical left. You just didn't understand them. You just didn't understand X-Men and Superman and Spider-Man and everything because you're obviously an idiot or something. The whole argument is just total bunk.
Yeah. But yeah, I liked looking at the pictures. I'm a visual person, and like I said, I always consider burlesque my character as like the superhero, and then I have the bloodline thing. Just all kind of fit to be a story. And then Comicsgate, I mean, I was looking for an artsy crew. I mean, I got blacklisted in the performing art scene, and it was really terrible, and I felt really isolated and alone. And then I just defaulted into like politics, working at Rebel or whatever, Daily Caller. And it wasn't for me. I'm not a pundit. I don't know what's going on with fucking DACA or, like all these things. I don't care. So I tried that, but ultimately I found a crew, and then the right doesn't really care, like politics, right? Doesn't care about art. They don't appreciate it. They don't see the value in it. I got blacklisted. Okay, who cares? So what? Like, you're a burlesque dancer, like, it didn't make sense to them why they would care. But then Comicsgate is like, no, you guys get it. Like, you're artists, and it is important, and we all kind of have the same energy, and that's what I was craving. It's nice.
That's how I ended up here too. Same way.
Thinking, but they do care, and then I realized, oh no, wait, they care about the classics, but getting the political right to care about current efforts in art.
Right.
Well, that's the reason why the world is in the way it is because no one cared when the radical left just stormed like Vikings across all of culture over the past 30 years.
Yeah, the long march into the institutions. And I mean, whenever I talk about it, they go, oh, why do you even bother? It's a leftist thing. Oh, Hollywood is totally leftist. Like, it wasn't. The golden age of Hollywood was Republican, universities weren't always leftist. And it's like, you forfeit culture by not caring about it. Stop talking about drag queens if you're not going to care about supporting us.
It matters to give my kids art if I want to pass on all my values to them.
Exactly. Even stuff that was progressive back in the day. Some of my most favorite stuff now, because it was made in a way that wasn't lecturing and preaching, and it didn't actually have an agenda to, browbeat you and preach at you and lecture you until you give in. I love watching old Star Trek. I love one of my favorite stories and movies is V for Vendetta. And if you ask leftists, they'll tell me that's a radical call to communist revolution.
Yeah.
But I'm like, the way I see it, I mean, I can look at it from the complete opposite direction.
Right.
It's all about
and that's
value.
what great art does, is that it is, and that's what I didn't want in my book, was to be, because it is the story about what happened to me and getting blacklisted and all that, but it's not, and then she's a Trump supporter, like, it has none of that.
Why you gotta be like that?
Yeah. So like a leftist could read it, not know who I am, not know my story, and enjoy it. And that's what I like about doing my Lady Alchemy work the way that I do it, is that anyone can enjoy it. Before politics, my artwork was about alchemy, and not what the people know about alchemy, So I would take these alchemical archetypes and symbols and incorporate it into my performance. And people that don't know about alchemy are like, that was a dope performance. You don't have to know about Negretto to be moved by my Negretto piece. But when you do know about alchemy, you're kind of like, oh, I see what you did there. So it's the same thing with the politics. It's nice to like have a story where no one can really tell what side you're on, but like you can kind of in your head be like, that kind of fits with what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Well, it fits for CG. Definitely.
Yeah, and this is why I wanted to show. Let me bring up the campaign again. This is what I wanted to show here. The updates. 35 updates. The latest one was 12 days ago. The one before that, 13 days ago. You've been keeping people updated pretty much the entire time. And I think that's all anyone really asks. We all understand.
Yeah, don't ghost them.
That life doesn't quite always pan out the way it's supposed to. But say with someone like Critias, I mean, he just disappeared for a year, just up and vanished.
Yeah.
So that's sort of why people get tentative about that. If you've always been there and, everyone kind of knows what's going down, I think there's great, leeway.
Thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, it's been hell dealing with these crazy, crazy people. And like I said, they went on podcasts to slander me and copyright everything. I mean, they were saying like vile stuff like, oh, she's committing like tax fraud, which is like insane because the whole time with the money, when he keeps asking for all this money, I kept bitching. I was like, I got to pay taxes. I got to like do that. Like this money is not like, he thinks that the 50 grand is just like there all the time. No matter how much we spend, he sees the 50 grand on the campaign and thinks that's the number. It's like, that number's not there anymore in my bank. You realize that, it's like, I have to pay tax. Indiegogo takes a cut. I have to pay taxes. I have all these expenses on the merch and things and people to pay, and it just goes away. So,
and a book to make.
Yeah.
And to ship.
Yep. Oh my God.
You don't know how much you're paying in tape until you've taped every package.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, and I've said on many occasions, I will not be stealing tape from my workplace. That will not be happening.
Just attract a little attention there, Mike.
I used to steal toilet paper from the office when I worked.
Oh, well, that was something that, needed to happen a few months ago. I was like,
Yeah,
I could still go into work. It was all fine. So I was like, okay, we're set. I'm set. Okay, no problem. I can always go into work. I know they've got a big thing of that out the back.
Well, I'm so glad that you were able to come onto the show today. And I mean, just to have a sexy guest and we have a sexy chat, and it's just an amazing
hand in hand.
Yeah, we get to see Comicsgate being at its best. And
yeah.
I mean, everything you've done in this campaign has really pushed, I think, everything you've done in this campaign has actually pushed Comicsgate forward.
Thank you. That really means a lot. Yeah. I mean, I definitely wanted, like I said, this art. I mean, that page 12 is just like, I want it to be weird and artsy, and people go, whoa, it's not like a normal book. And it means a lot to me. Thank you.
Oh, we love it when the books aren't normal.
Yeah.
When they're, I just got sent some artwork from a guy. I just asked, do you have any art to show? And you just never know what you're going to get back.
Right.
And it's just blown me away. And it's completely outside of what normal comic books you think of with American kind of Western comic books. So I'm really happy to get him on. And when I saw this art, you sent me this stuff. I was like, oh, fantastic. This is the stuff that we love to show off. We don't all want to we don't want Comicsgate to have a house look. Never.
Right. Yeah, and I mean, like, don't get me wrong. Like, I do appreciate people with the standard coloring and the standard comic book. Like, everything has its. I mean, I had someone earlier today, and they had two different. One was like a Western. It was Michael Murphy, and he had like that Western one, and then I love the halftones. I mean, it's interesting. The stories people come up with are interesting, and then he has the samurai one and dinosaurs and totally different vibe, and that loose black and white coloring. So it's really cool. I like to see all the different stuff. Everyone has something different, but I as Lady Alchemy do aesthetics. I mean, I make my own costumes. I do photos and videos and stuff like that. And so it had to have my like weird artsiness like to it. And if there's anything to be said about the whole Courteous situation around the same time that my problem happened, is that at least my situation can be like one of those things where it's like vindicated or like a learning lesson or something that's like, okay, like, one of those stories that's like, it happened and she rose like a phoenix out of like the bullshit. So
that's what it sounds like, a lot of lessons were learned, and it was your first time doing it, and luckily, because you've been so transparent about it, you're now in a position where you can, like you said, rise from the phoenix. But going forward, I'm sure there's lots of things now that you're going to be doing very differently.
And at some point you had stopped the bleeding, which is good.
Yeah. And I mean, my only concern is to keep the faith so that when I do other books or whatever, people don't think that it's going to take another few years for it to happen. I've learned my lesson, and I have my team that I think really, really works. And it should be a speedy process from this point on. And I'll do whatever I can to make sure I get ahead of the curve and get as much done before I even do another campaign.
Yeah, we were talking about that the other day, that back when you launched this, that was sort of the going philosophy,
right?
That all you need is a cover or the starts of a cover, or not even a cover, a couple of pages and the story and a title, and get your campaign out there. And now it's really the exact opposite. It's especially for first timers. People are saying get as much as the book done as possible beforehand.
Yeah, that's what I would recommend. But also the community in general, like, it really was I couldn't have done it without Adam Post, directing me and telling me like, do this, do that. And, contact Vaughn and whatever, and the group chats and stuff. So I'm really thankful because when I sat there and I decided to get rid of the other team and had that pit in my stomach of like, what do I do? Oh my God.
Yeah, it's gonna be so,
You
it's gonna
withered
be
as
so
well.
sweet when you get it in people's hands after all this.
Well, there is a really important question in the chat here, which is who has prettier hair, Bandito or Martina?
We've got 2 votes between Poland and me. For
Have you
Martina.
seen Bandito's hair? It's probably about as long as yours.
Really?
No, mine only goes down to my nipples. So
Yeah, mine got really long. If you see old footage of me, it's pretty short hair.
Well, he also comes with a mustache as well, so there's that going for him too. I don't know. That's up to the chat.
All nipples, Bandito? All of them?
Martina, what's the new timetable for the book with the new team?
Well, Dario sent me an email like maybe a month or so ago, and he was like, "Oh, I should have everything done by like the inking done by like the end of July, but we're only 50% done with the book, so I don't think that's gonna happen." But he's chugging away. Maybe I should email him and see if we can update some timeline because I think people really do deserve that and are curious about that. But it's happening regularly. Dario's a professional, so it's always like, here's pages, here's a sketch, how do you feel about this, like, you know? And so there's a lot of communication happening, and same with Miko is like very professional. I'll send him pages, he says, okay, next week I'll get you so.
I missed a beat there. Are you having a separate penciler and inker?
No, yeah, Dario does the sketches.
Not to take away from Dario, but I get the impression from certain comments made in the chat tonight that long, career inker Art Tiber would absolutely love to do an inking job if you do a sequel to this book.
That would be cool.
He was
Art was fawning over what we were showing.
Awesome.
And he really liked the artwork as well.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Try and get on his show.
That's what I said about. That's why I'm excited too about like the mini book ideas, because we can then bring in some other artists that are really excited. They like the concept and they want to work with me, and I can give them an opportunity to do something, but it's also not like a huge project where it's like 40 pages or something. We can like do like a 6-page project. It's like quick and easy, and we get to all be part of it. So
that's a great.
The comments Art was making was simply that looking at the artwork provided by your artist, his body, he was having trouble with his body temperature. It's getting up there. So I presume he would enjoy inking it.
Awesome.
We are going to close down soon. I just wanted to embarrass myself a little bit. I sent a tweet out earlier saying we were just one backer away on the Lucent from 40,000 Australian dollary dues. And clearly, I think I read that at about 6 o'clock this morning. If there is a backer out there, because you can actually set your amount, if there's a backer out there who wants to back the book and then add a $2,000 donation on top of that, feel free to make me right. But otherwise, no, we're one backer away from 38,000. But that's pretty amazing. So yeah, I just wanted to point that out. But Martina, it's been a lot of fun hearing your story. You probably see me. I was in shock hearing it all go down. But I'm so happy that you're finally getting the book finished, and yeah, all good things from the future, hopefully.
Thank you so much,
guys. It's been great.
Bouncing back.
What was that?
I'm just glad to hear you're bouncing back, man.
Oh, good. Yes. Bandito, thanks for finally turning up.
Yes, I'm sorry, work duty calls, but
duty calls.
Yeah.
And always great to see you here too, Poland.
Of course. Glad to be here.
And what a chat we've had tonight, huh? This has been stellar. And I've been
having fun with them. We were having karaoke in the chat earlier.
Everyone in the chat has been amazing, and I think we all know the reason why they're here. So for that, thank you again, Lady Alchemy. Everyone who hasn't backed this project is still in demand.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
And how many backers was it on? Like 1,200 and something? That's incredible.
Yeah, I have over 1,000, yeah.
And this artist, like Dario's work, you're going to be seeing a lot of him in Comicsgate moving forward. Good. So you want to be on this book, because this is going to be some of his first. This is going to be his first installment in Comicsgate, so it's going to be historic, and you're going to see a lot of his stuff moving forward. He's going to become a very, very big
That's
name.
great.
You know what everyone says is, if you can have 1,000 backers backing you, and you can put out 1 to 2 books a year, you can build a career on that. So hopefully,
absolutely.
with this new team, you get blacklisted from the burlesque scene, but welcomed with open arms here in Comicsgate. So hopefully that can be, what we're going to see from you in the coming years.
Absolutely.
Thanks.
Little round top.
Okay, guys, we'll see you tomorrow. All new guest. Thanks again, and cheers. Bye.
Godspeed.